What's up, guys? Unlimited video time, because usually I have, like, on top of my phone I have like you have like maximum 20 minutes, you have maximum 30 minutes, but now for now the time just goes on. So we're living. Yeah. But today in this topic I would like to mention, maybe I will call this senses and connections, and how different senses and connections can be seen in this world, and how they are on your different levels and shit like that, because to some degree, and I have water sign Cancer, so to some degree I feel like maybe it's not like I only peep shit, but like maybe I'll peep more shit, or I'll be able to explain more shit due to the fact that I'm the one who uh, connects a lot and shit like that, right? But yeah. With connection or senses, I don't know what to start with, but I would say the idea of this whole thing for me to do a video right now about senses and connection was the little short videos that I did on Instagram, and those videos consisted of for you to be they were consistent on that for you to be connected with some guy, like in general, if you want to be like, let's say you're speaking to somebody, right? If you want to be connected with him in such a way that you both understand what you are saying, and he gets that in the way that you told him that, so it's not like you're saying the same words as you would say in this plan A or situation A, where he got everything. It's what I forgot already. It's like, if you want him to get it in such a way, like, because sometimes words, okay, there are similar words. We're like taking two people from the same country that speak the same language on the same level, right? So there's no misunderstandings. There's no maybe he's a foreigner, maybe he's an immigrant, maybe he doesn't understand some words. We take two natives, native speakers, and even when they are speaking their own language between each other, they may not get one may not get what the other is trying to say. Not only in the way that you may not get what I'm trying to say, like sometimes when I'm here and there and everything like that, but it's like my little thing, Actually, with me, I guess you have to actually sit down and maybe listen to the words, and like have actual a literal conversation, because I may speed up sometimes, but you'll be the one to like slow me down and show me like, okay, I didn't get this part, and I'll explain this part to you too. But like via video, I'm doing my best, to be honest. But yeah, it's like, so one person may say one word, but the thing is, like, the other guy, he may, or not one word, just like a sentence or something. One may not get it due to the fact that he is not on the same mental level, or on the same emotional level as the guy who produced the word is, and I'm not talking on the mental or emotion, maybe emotional level you got it, but not the mental level doesn't mean that one is more smarter than the other one, or more intelligent than the other one, or one is more deep voice, right? I'm sick. I'm sick. Or the other one is more, I don't know, he's not intelligent or stupid, or I don't know, he doesn't know shit, or blah blah, this and that and sort, or he's not as developed. Not in this way, in such a way that you're just not in this space as the other guy, The other guy didn't get into the same space as the guy who was expressing some words and shit like that, In that little space, in that little room, in that little cinema that he was in, everything what he perceived, or everything what he saw it in such a way. But this guy can be in the neighboring cinema, and he may not get what is actually happening in this cinema. They may be in the same building, but they may not be in the same cinema, and that's maybe why one person will not get everything what the other person says, So for example, that could be one of the examples, like, um You even may have it with your friends, like let's say, I mean, like, okay, for now, I'll think of some examples, but for now, the only example I have, like, for example, let's say you have two girls sitting. I mean, like, I know that through memes, right? That girls, they can speak like with eyes and shit like that, So, for example, some handsome guy walks in and they're like, look at him, and shit like that. And or when they want to leave, or when the guy is kind of awkward and shit like that, they also have like maybe sign language for them to tell that to their girl friend, like female friend, right, bestie. Therefore, they will leave the bar or something like that. They will leave that guy who is kind of freak or something like that. So, yeah. So here, even in this situation, one girl, like they both, maybe due to the fact that they know each other for a long time, right? They can get, one may get what the other says, but in some cases, they will not. One will not get what the other says, and one will be like, yeah, and the other one will be like, you want to hit him up or something, but actually she said like, nah, bro, let's fuck off, and shit like that. So yeah, you here, even here, like they had to be on the same kind of mental, emotional level for them to get that equal picture. For them to get that image of, yeah, let's get out and stuff like that. But maybe in the case of them knowing each other for a long time, it will work out more often due to the fact that they are more closer, more connected, and they know low-key. They visited, or they know each other's like mental spaces. And the mental space is not like something wow. The mental space is just like you're getting some idea. Oh, you're getting some idea, but you're getting like So let's say you have bunch of different ideas that were created in your mind, but you are jumping into them, and depending in which, and those are all different spaces. And like let's say depending on which space you're thinking from, that's located the space that you're in. You can be thinking in the space of uh, like let's say you wanna get out in this same situation, in this the same situation with girls. You want to get out from that freak guy in the bar, right? And it's like, but he paid for everything. He paid for all this like drinks. He paid for this and sort. Of course, mostly of the time you can say fuck off, and that's it. We are dipping. My bad. Yeah, you can say that we are dipping, but some girls are not like that. Some girls are maybe like even the guy is not that bad, and you don't want to break his heart because he's a good guy, but you just want to dip, and that's it. It's not your fault, and you want to dip. So now you have different type of ideas how you can dip, right? And depending on which, from different spaces. In some spaces you don't give a fuck about that guy. In some spaces you do give a fuck about that guy, and you don't want to break his heart. So you will come up with a more balancing way of telling him like, yeah, I have a small sister waiting me there, so at home, so I have to take care of her because her parents are out there somewhere too, as me. Yeah, but like that's one of the spaces, right? That's one of the spaces that you've been at, that was created, like I think also with your emotional and mental state, because like emotional, like, okay, let me not hurt him, and the ideas that come from it is like now that you're getting, so you're in that specific space. But everything that all that emotion, ideas, all that shit, all those little moments, let's say, all that, because only that moment makes it that space. Only that little thing is that connects everything, like as I said, emotion and stuff like that. Only that shit makes that space. In another space, another emotional thing it would be great. No, I will continue with spaces, right? So in this space, you don't want to hurt him. So the ideas that you will may get from this specific space that you created, space X, shout out to me, of course, yeah. But yeah, space X. say x as in mathematics, right? Because you have x plus epsilon, or I don't know y, you know. So that's where I'm getting x from. But yeah, so in this like first case, let's not hurt him and tell him like, oh yeah, we have to do it because our mom waits for us, you know. So she told him that from that space. Another space would be like, let me tell him that we are going to the toilet and we'll just dip. You know, so here you have more emotions of, I don't actually give a fuck about him, we can just lie to him and shit like that. So you're taking this from another space, you know, so, and shit like that. And the thing is like, the ideas that you're getting, let's say you didn't tell that to your friend, and she has to catch up on the way, like, you know, in the moment, she has to catch up what you're saying and also play with it, so it's not gonna be like it's only you dipping and your girl doesn't know shit about that, you know. Your girl doesn't know that you have a sister who is home alone. Your girl doesn't know that if you'll go to the toilet you'll have to come back and shit like that, so we'll take all your shit with you and shit like that, you know. And when that girlfriend would also be in that same space where the girl with her friend is at, or you is at, let's say you, I mean like, or me, because it's gonna be then hard to explain. So like this friend of mine, if she's not in the same level, on the same in the same, let's say, low-key space or similar space, but I would say in this case same space to some degree, she knows what you she knows what I want to say to her with all this, like, you know, like, and she like that. If she understands that, then she maybe to some degree visited that same space, and now we both in the same kind of cinema. We see the same film, we hear the same voice, we eat the same maybe popcorn, but that doesn't matter. We do the same stuff. Therefore, we have some degree the same understanding of the experience, you know. So it's like I don't have to tell her 5 times to take all her stuff. She will, with only one kind of movement, she will understand that, yeah, we gonna get out and stuff like that. So take all your stuff because we're not gonna tell nobody that we owe nobody shit and blah blah blah, and we'll come back, we're just gonna get out and that's it. But yeah, but that's them being in the same space. And of course, it works like in both ways. It's like either you open your space, or maybe just the fact that you open your space more and more and more, like, you know, you give different ideas to your friend, and due to the fact that you know each other longer, maybe that's why it will be easier for your friend to get into some of your spaces, you know, to get you faster. Because, you know, for example, like sometimes when you're angry and you're saying something, but it may not sound angry, but when you're saying something that is angry aggressiveness for you, like from that space of aggressiveness, you always twitch your like shoulder, you know. And due to the fact that you always twitch your shoulder when you're speaking, like around in a circle of people, no people, some people would be like, why he's twitching his elbow, or like a shoulder. The other ones will not even see it. They'll think like, yeah, it's a part of him and shit like that. But your friend, she will get like, oh, that person hella angry right now, because like due to the fact that she's so long with you, that she so much the expression from this particular space that she knows that, okay, she's now in this space. But that's not the case of me doing this video. That's like one of the explanation what the spaces that I was talking about, you know, not the spaces that you kind of low key maybe you connect to them, maybe not, I don't know, but like some of them you create too. Because I also have this little dilemma when you'll go further that I don't know if it's even important that, for example, are some spaces, yeah, some, yeah, that doesn't matter. Just I wanted to say that are some spaces created before me. Of course some spaces are created before me. Maybe I'm the creator of some other spaces that some other people too can get into, you know. So like let's say maybe I'm not sure, but maybe that's how it is. So different spaces are being created. It's not like the only space that you have in your brain, because that meant this is like the mental state, right? Brain comes after the mental state. A mental state is something that everybody can visit. So you and your mother can have the same mental state, you know. You both can, when something will fall down, you both will have the idea to reach for it, you know. But not everybody will have idea to reach for it, you know. That's why, like, the different spaces, you know. So it doesn't mean that you kind of visit it in your brain or something like that. It's like it's something like common and shit like that, you know, for a person. So due to the fact that so here, even in this example of, let's say you have three person, right? You, your father and your mother, and something fell down. Your mother tried to reach for it. Your father tried to reach. Okay, your mother tried to reach for it. You tried to reach for it, but your father didn't reach for it. And already at this point, you and your mother, you kind of went more connected. You know, you were located in that same space of like, reaching this up, and maybe when you stand up, you look at your dad. You and your mom will look at your dad in the same way with the same like mimics. And be like, what the fuck? Like, what the fuck? And then, you know, because you were in the same low-key mental state. So the same ideas, low-key, the same ideas came to you for you to do your actions, you know. But I'm talking, it's not like if you're in the same space, everybody do the same action. No, no, no. It's like that mental space is just like an ecosystem that you are visiting, and like if from that well you're getting your resources for you to do some actions, um, then the guy who is also in that ecosystem, who is like in that well, will understand some of your actions without even you saying words and shit like that, due to the fact that he's in the same space, you know. That also, shit, I had like an example, but I forgot that shit, no? Mm. Yeah, yeah, it's like, you can kind of maybe, I'm not saying you can, it's low-key similar. It's low-key similar to like Inside Out, like the cartoon, right? Where you have different kind of emotions, but when one emotion takes the panel, that's like him moving the panel, no? So when you have aggressiveness moving the panel, then he does it in his way. So the person who is under that will be aggressive, right? So it's like that's like giving your energies to different masks or to different demons when you are being possessed. But in this case, you're also low-key possessed. But I wanted to explain it more in a way that you're being possessed by a certain space, you know. You're still deciding what you're trying to do and what you're not trying to do with your head, with your hands, with your mouth. Do you want to say that word? If you don't want to say that word that you got right now in your head, but you're in that space of you observing things, you know, and getting ideas from there. But you can give the whole control, Loki maybe to it, and you will be Loki possessed by it. But in this case, you're also possessed by it, you know, just like you're having more control over it. It's not like a demon or something that you're being possessed by, and you're just going based off a desire. I want to fuck, and you don't see nothing else but fucking and asses and shit like that, you know. But yeah, spaces. So yeah, then I was also talking about like in my like shorts, not shorts, Instagram stories and shit like that. That with the space, okay, my bad, guys. Let me finish smoking because I think it's not morally correct. But yeah, about spaces, so even that can be seen even in the way it's not only like you understanding via like via messages and shit like that, you know, via actions. You will even understand the person's actions due to the fact if you are being in the same space with him, you know. Even if you'll say do an action, you will get it in the way why it was done and shit like that. And that's going getting to the thinking that when you're even, you can even see that when you, in the moments when you're talking to the person, and for example you're being serious, right? You're being serious about something. You're saying it like you're just saying words and like and shit like that. You're talking about some topic, and it's serious for you, and you're like saying it and blah blah, blah and shit like that, explaining it. But the person, he's not in the same train of thoughts or in the same line of reasoning, he's not on the same way for you to surf, or he's not in the same cinema with you, therefore he doesn't see it in the way that you see it, and he may even get your seriousness, not your seriousness, but the topic that you're talking about, like some goofy stuff, he may receive it in his own way. He may receive it as a joke, he may receive it as a thinking that he will start to let's say the topic is very serious, but he will throw his jokes inside, due to the fact that he's not on the same level as the group is, but he just like arrived, and I think maybe you experienced that, he's not like you have a group standing talking about something, and he's just passing around. He heard some words, and he tried to like fit in, and he now starts to joke and shit like that, but that joke is completely out of the space that you are all in right now, and talking about some business and shit like that. So even here he may not understand even the same words that you are saying, and all the others are hearing, like everybody hear the same voice, the same words, right? I will say rainbow, everybody heard a rainbow, but not everybody will see a rainbow as a rainbow. Somebody will see rainbow as a rainbow flag for LGBTQ, and shit like that. So see, even here, like depending on the space that the person is in, those images he will get into his mind for him to then act it out, like from inner out, as we create everything from inside out and shit like that. So in this case, like one of the examples how it can be also seen in real life. So sometimes you actually have to get that person on your type of mental train of thought for him to understand what you are talking about and shit like that, so nothing will go, some words will not go missing, which will are important to be understood. Some things will not go missing, blah 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 and shit like that. He will actually follow you, all your words and shit like that you are saying, and not in a mental way, in an emotional way too, not only like in a physical way, following your words, but not actually understanding them, not actually standing under that type of concept and shit like that, he kind of gets it, he gets all those words, like, in the audio way, actions in a visible way, he get it, but he doesn't understand, he's not under that, let's say, specific roof, when the rain is falling down, so he may not smell the same smoke that the person smokes from the person standing under the umbrella smokes, because he's standing like in the cafe, which is like after two cafes and shit like that, and the smoke doesn't go there and shit like that, but it's allegorically, if you can draw that picture. But yeah, those are like different spaces and shit like that. Even maybe to some degree, I was thinking. Well, yeah. Also, I was what I wanted to say, that sometimes you have to take that person, put it somehow in this specific space that you're coming from, for him to understand it, And sometimes it's like, also I did a good allegory, and maybe I'll flex and I will say it right now too. That sometimes you have to take that guy. So you created a product, right? You created a product, you produce a product, and if you want for that product to be received in such a way that it was made for, so that it was its purpose, right? So it will be received in the way that it was intended from, it was intended for to be received as, and shit like that. Sometimes you have to take that person and just show him the factory itself, so not only that you give him the product, but you have to bring him to the factory and show him how it was made, and the purpose of it being made, and the whole intent, the starting point of it being made, it then to be produced, and for him to receive it. Sometimes you have to show him the fabric the intent that the spark that initiated this whole idea, this or like idea that initiated this whole trend of your words and shit like that, of your sentences. Sometimes you have to show the guy who you're speaking to the space, so he will get it. Explain it into some way. Maybe you'll talk about some tragic thingy, but he's in a positive mood, but it's not his kind of fault. Maybe you were talking about something positive right now, but then when you switch to some other topic, that topic is low-key tragic for you. but he still doesn't know that it's tragic for you because you just ended up talking about some positive stuff, you know. And if it's tragic for you, you have to maybe tell him that it's tragic for you, so he will go on the same emotional space of tragedy, and he'll be like, oh yeah, like maybe some words I don't have to say and shit like that, because now I'm in this space of tragedy. I'm not in this space of positivity that I was before, where even this little thingy I could say, but it would be seen as a joke and everybody would laugh about it. But in this case, if I will take this thingy and use it to say it as a joke, it will may be seen and taken in as something very negative, you know, to some degree. So yeah, sometimes you have to take the person who you're talking with on the same kind of into the same kind of space, or just to show him the space a little bit, you know. But when you're in that space, you'll be able to kind of bring him to the space, you know, with different with different like examples, with different like products of that space, you know, aka with different representations of the space, you know, which you would put out via words, via emotions, via actions, via just explanations, you know, telling him maybe the background story or something. And that's how little by little he'll go into your your space. But that's okay also how you can teleport, right? That's how you can also teleport into different spaces, as you always do too. Like different images could be as a, a teleportative portals or something like that, or like thingies. Like for example, if you have seen Naruto, right? Naruto's father Minato. Remember, he was able to teleport and shit like that, but he used his kunai or like knife for teleporting and shit like that. So that so words also can be seen in such a way, you know. Some words bring different things, and you can even you bringing that person via words or via actions, you can kind of teleport him from a positive space into a negative state, right, or space or emotional state and shit like that via words. And that's how you also travel within yourself. So for example, I also speak about that a little bit in my Yggdrasil, like Norse mythology type shit tree video. You can also check it out. But like basically, let's say you're being positive, and then you started to think about something negative. You started to get negative thoughts, so you are already teleporting yourself into negative state, you know, like you're moving there, but you're moving there via some other thing is as well, you know. You can move there by yourself, or the surroundings can move you there, you know, but you're being moved there by some initiation to some degree, you know. Either it's within of you or it's outside of you. Okay, within of you, you heard some word or some representation that is associated with you with tragedy, so you got teleported there like subconsciously, like that, or you saw something happening outside and that teleported you there. And already, due to the fact, depending on which kind of rooms you build it, or which type of which type of thingies you were building in the tragic space, that's what you will also get due to the fact that you are already in tragic space. And maybe sometimes you even peep that in conversations when you're talking with somebody, and you, let's say, started to talk about, okay, I will just give you an example. Like for example, me and my friend yesterday, we were talking about, let's say, some awkward stuff that was happening in our childhood, right, with us. So we kind of connected, we were connected on some childhood thingies, right? So for example, he started to say something, I started to say something, then he started to say something, and we were moving further, like deeper to some. For example, he was telling me a story when he was 12, but I told him a story when I was like 3 years old or 4 years old. And due to the fact that it was seen as okay, because we were moving on the same train of like topic, you know, the topic was like embarrassing moments in childhood, you know. So it was not seen like that, me using myself as a small kid, and that, you know, because if you'll compare a person who is like 14 and a person who is like 3, sometimes you can put them into two different like categories. But in this case, we were under the same category, And even when I mentioned myself being like 3 years old, after him mentioning him being himself in like at the age of 14, my words were still seen as okay due to the fact that we were under that still domain, equal domain. So we were still in the same cinema. It's not like I went into the other cinema and I started to get different things, but I was still in the same cinema, just like a different timeline was produced and shit like that, expressed. I hope you can get what I'm trying to say though. So like even if we'll talk about the same topic and we'll move on based on that, it still will be seen as okay because we are moving on this topic, because we are still moving on this topic, even though if I'll talk about somebody, other kids, and continue to talk about kids, or continue to talk about some other shit, it will be seen as okay due to the fact that we started from there and we are low key moving in a similar kind of petty way, pathway, in the journeyed way, in the roadway, because on that way, from that space, you still have similar representations that are similar, are like connected to this space, So we are moving kind of further to another topic, but even though we are furthering away, still we may get each other and we may understand why a person is saying that. But a person is saying that due to the fact that we started from speaking about kids and shit like that, our childhood, memories and shit like that. So even if we started to talk about our like our like fuck ups in childhood, and then I will say about like just a reminder, like, oh, I remember when I was a small, when I was a baby, this happened to me, and from this I learned something. Even if I'll put this inside, it will be still seen as a cage due to the fact that we were building from the basis, or we were building from the space of childhood and shit like that. So I'm still taking in childhood, but already not in the way of my fuck ups, but in the way of what I learned, and shit like that from my fuck ups. So it's like it's already kind of different path, right? So it's not like we went that way of us talking about like, oh yeah, I shit myself, but now we are talking about like, oh yeah, I learned that, this and that and that, but still it came out from the same kind of road and shit like that, the same space. So it was like that. Then we started to move here, here, here. We could go there. He maybe went there. I went here, but we still kind of on the same level due to the fact that we started from here, and we were still kind of connected when going further and further away and shit like that. But then at some point maybe we'll get too far and we'll be already in different place and shit like that. So yeah, sometimes you have to check the guy who is you're speaking with. If you actually want him to get that something, check if he is on the same level as you, Loki. Too. Not every time, but it's sometimes easy to peep. It's not like some hard shit. Sometimes it's just like even like with the face thing is it's easy to peep and shit like that. But yeah, what else? Also, one of those, yeah. So that's like also talking about connections. As I said before, that the longer you know the person, the more you're connected to them, the more you know them, the more it's easier for you maybe to get which space the person talks from, or when he says certain words from in which space he is in. So you will like he's somewhere here, and you're here, so you'll get up here. I'm not talking about higher here right now. I'm just like, I can even put you both here. Doesn't matter. Nobody is higher than nobody. If you are if you are you, then that's it. Nobody is gonna be higher, lower than you. Never. I mean, like lower maybe, who knows, but like higher of you being you, there's nobody better than you being you. Yeah, so yeah, just keep doing that shit. But yeah, also I want to say that you can also see that this like little connection, and this little thing also goes to the senses due to the fact that if with your senses you can get what the person says, because sometimes with my because sometimes not only words that we are saying, also actions, also our mimics, like body language, right, plays a big role. I think even you heard that it plays like 60% of its important, or it speaks for itself. The words may say like 30%, but the body language says 60%, right? So it's also a part of. So even like me, you see, I'm saying speaking right now, and I'm doing this like sometimes I'm moving my words, but those words, my hands, actions, movements, but those movements are low-key also coming from the same space as my words. So like I'm unconsciously like saying shit, or consciously saying shit, and then consciously doing my hands, but those kind of hands are in tuned on the beat with my words together. And also sometimes when I'm gonna do this or this or this, it kind of reflects my words and shit like that. So this and this comes low-key from the same space and shit like that. So it's also like about the senses. So if the person can sense with my actions what I'm trying to say, not only with the words and shit like that. Maybe I'm hella positive, but with my actions I'm hella closed off and shit like that. But I'm like, yeah, everything is good, everything is good. And the person may via senses get like, okay, not everything is good. His words may seem like that, but his face, his action, his like look doesn't say that everything is okay and shit like that. And that's about the senses. And what I also wanted to say about the senses is like a little transition, just to show you that how excuse me, how the topic of spaces, connections, and senses can be tied together. That's how it can be tied together. Of you to understand, okay, you understand via senses, but of you also sensing that shit is also low-key you understanding the space and shit like that. Then what is the spaces? I explain what the space is, and the connection is like also to some degree depends maybe on the space too, or you get to that space and you're connected, maybe that's why you're getting closer, aka like for example, you find a music band, right, and everybody want to have their own band, and based on that connection, based on that fire, based, let's say, on that little space of everybody wanted to be in the band, in the band, they are connected, so they're connected, and this little space gets them together and shit like that. But this little fire can be anything. This can be fire, it can be inspiration for you to learn English. This inspiration can be for you to move to another country. This inspiration for you to can be for you to marry a person, to be in a marriage. This connection can be like, oh yeah, let's make a business team and get this money and shit like that, So it's just like some type of space that people are connected based on, and they don't have to say second question each other or like say second words. They know why they are here for, and what they are where they are heading to, or heading at, I don't know, and shit like that. So you can even peep that in this little connection senses and shit like that. You can also peep when you're writing a person, when you're writing a person, the word is like the smallest kind of the words, even the text, the text itself, right? If you don't actually know a person, as I said before, who knows your spaces, and even he will understand your space, not even seeing you, but seeing the specific word that you typed and wrote him, or this emoji, he already knows in which type of space you are, due to the fact that he knows him, due to the fact that he knows you a long time, right? And shit like that. But if you'll talk to a new guy, like let's say you met somebody on Tinder, or like a girl on Tinder and shit like that, and you just met them, and you're trying to text them, and you don't know this person. And like the thing is like, the only senses that you have that you can peep on the space or something like that is the words, if we are not taking the audios, and we are not taking like the emojis, which will kind of maybe put some emotions into it, so like some little, let's say like you're in a happy state, so you're gonna send like some emojis like of a laughing person, or some jokes, or some gifs, or some stickers and shit like that, that are funny, and the person will be like, oh yeah, that person is in a funny state, so you low-key taking that person into your domain, shit like that. Jujutsu guys and shit like that. But yeah, but if you're talking to the person that you don't know, and the text may sometimes even fuck up the things due to the fact that you don't see this person, right? You don't know where he at right now. You can ask him though. You don't know where he at right now, like physically. You don't know where he at emotionally, mentally, and shit like that. So even some of your words may be taken in by that guy in a completely different way. You know, one of the examples, one of the great examples could be like when somebody texts you something and your response or their response will be okay, you know, and you're like, sometimes you would be like, okay, if because you could see that this okay can be seen different ways. This okay can be seen like, yeah, okay. Like for example, you told them, oh, you wanna go tomorrow outside and we can visit the castle, and the person answered okay, you know, and you're like, is it okay, like, fuck off? Or is it okay, yeah, for this moment I'll say okay, but I'll ignore you tomorrow? Or this okay is like, oh yeah, okay, yeah, 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 let's go there, let's go there. Or this okay is like, yeah, okay, yeah, it's nice that you took me, want to take me out and stuff like that. It's very cute from you and shit like that, you see? So this okay can be seen in different ways, but due to the fact that there's no other senses that you can pick on, so there's no mimics, there's no voice that represents to some degree your vibrations within of you, like hey, your emotions, you know. For example, if you would be aggressive, your okay would be like okay and shit like that, you know. The tone would be different. Or if your okay would be like in a smiley way, that would be also said in a different tone and shit like that, you know. So at this point when you're texting a person, the only way that you can connect on and peep those little thingies and get the space are the words, you know. So at this point you have almost like zero senses. The only sense that you have is your eyes and shit like that. But for, yeah, somebody came. But for example, when you yeah, but 40 minutes is enough, I guess. But like but sometimes, for example, when you what I want to say, but yeah, when you, for example, see a person, you see a person, you hear his voice, you see his mimics and shit like that, you see his actions that are coming from also with his words and shit like that. You may peep his space way better. So here you get more senses from him, you know, for you to pick on. So for example, here you already have actions. So if, not only words reading, but you actually see the action, body language, right, which speaks more. Then you hear the voice, which speaks more. Then you see the mimics, which speaks more and shit like that, which also senses you have smell, taste, and touch and shit like that. But that's, yeah, but that's like on a different for some different things. But yeah, so even here you can see that here you will get more when you see a person alive when you than just texting him, you know. But even via texting, when you get audio messages, you get a person way better. I mean, like the space that he's in way better than you're just texting, you know. So the more kind of senses maybe are exposed, the better it is. Something like that, you know. That's about the senses. And Loki, that's also ties up with, as I said before, being in the same space, because here at this point you're also getting more and more closer to the space where the person speaks from. So for example, the voice will tell you the space, the actions will tell you the space, the words will tell you the space. So you have more things that kind of direct direct you into that space, you know. Not only one shit that directs you into that space, but you have also different distractions that direct you in different spaces. But in this case you have three different things. Okay, like you have actions one, you have voice two, and you have words three that direct you in the specific space, you know. So it will be easier for you to get to the space than when it's only one direction and shit like that. But yeah, so yeah, so that's it. But it's like you're getting on into the same space on, let's say, a physical level, right? Words and shit like that. But the same kind of senses are being done in the mental level. So as I said before, you have to get the person on your train of thought, you know, and shit like that, for him to get that, for him to sense everything in the way that you sense it, like, you know, all the ideas maybe that pop up and shit like that, so that he will sense in the way that you sense. So for example, if you're talking about some serious conversation, right, and not some jokey one. So for example, we'll talk about something and I will say some. So we are talking, right? We are talking about some serious stuff, serious thingies and shit like that, and I'll say word MILF, and for him not to get this word MILF in different ways. So, for example, oh yeah, he'll make a joke about MILF, or he'll make a horny joke about the MILF, and shit like that. For him not to do that, but still be on the same serious train of thought of us doing business talk and shit like that. And even though I mentioned the word MILF, it doesn't mean that I'm about to joke about MILFs and shit like that. But we are still keeping track and shit like that. So even that, for that guy to get it in such a way, he also has to be, of course, he has to be sensible and shit like that. But you can help him out to be on the same train of thought for him not to do those things. So even here, you have to give him more senses. Okay, those senses are maybe not visible. They're still visible. If it's in your head, doesn't mean it's not real, and shit like that. Because at any moment you can stand up and kick somebody in his face due to the fact that you just thought it in your head that you want to go and kick somebody's face and shit like that. It doesn't mean if it's invisible, it doesn't mean it's not real. You can make it real and shit like that. It also goes about your dreams and shit. So yeah, and about this guy, so you have to, as in the physical ways of sensing a person, as I said before, you have different directions. So you have voice, you have actions, you have words and shit like that. You have to also pick him up there and have it the same low-key way that he will follow you there too. Like you'll be there together. Um, and he will not make jokes about meals. I think that's it. What I want to say. I want to like. I think yeah, but it's basically it. You have the same thing is happening in a physical matter, but you have the same thing is happening also in a mental matter, a mental level. Something is just more dense. Like more heavier. Okay, physical. So hands. You move here, but you also move there and shit like that. But there you move more in a mental way. There you move more in a lighter way, but you don't actually have to do actions. You can do it like um, with your air or with your ideas, thoughts, and shit like that, with your emotions. But here you actually have to, for example, for you to make some type of movement move. So for example, let's say you're at a house party, you need time for it to end, right? So it started, then goes like first hour, second hour, third hour, fourth hour, fifth hour, then the house party ends and shit like that. So it needs time, it needs like physical matter here and shit like that. But in your mental way, everything is way lighter, faster, easier, quicker and shit like that. So you can see the party happening in your head, and you can see the party ending in your head like in the same instant almost. So that's why it's lighter and easier and heavier, so you don't have to actually like here push the action itself. You don't have to, like in this case it's time, yeah, of course, but like even you driving in the car, let's say you have to drive 30 minutes. You don't act like in this physical matter, because it's so dense. You actually have to drive 30 minutes in the car and move 30 minutes your steering wheel, and 30 minutes look here and there, for 30 minutes for you to get from one point to another. But in your head, you do it like in 3 seconds. You can see that you driving the whole way very fast in your head, or you can just switch from one place to another place in your head and shit like that. So that's why it's lighter and it's easier and it moves faster and quicker. So you don't have to actually pull the thingy. You can levitate the thingy, right? And that's why it moves faster and it's easier for you to move it and shit like that, because it's not as dense here. So even in your head, you will move a rock easier than you move it here in physical life and shit like that. So that's like also the different things. But that's basically it. But yeah, but that's basically it. That's everything what I wanted to say, Loki. And it's like 15 minutes, but I guess that's enough. Like the name of the topic will be spaces, connections, and senses. So we talked about what I meant with the space, or what the space actually is, right? Then we talked about the connections. Loki, we talked about the connections. There's like a different. Okay, maybe I'll not name my shit like connections and senses, because I can add more and more. But Loki, I did actually talked about connection in the way that I think it's supposed to be talked. So it's like you connecting on a person also based on different. You can connect with person on one thingy, he will connect with you on another thingy, and you will go a long way thinking that you're connected together on the same thingy, but actually you were connected on a different thingy, and that's why after like 3 years or something you will break up and shit like that with the person, you know. So yeah, so you also to some degree have to know where you're starting at, you know. So you may think that you're connecting on something similar, but you're not connecting on something similar. But also the connection itself, as I said before, plays a big role of you even coming together and shit like that. On and based on what you're connected, or even like when you're talking with somebody right now at this moment, like what is the space, what is the train of thoughts, if the space is that you're both in is connected, you know, so you will see the same thing is with your eyes. And that I think also goes like to continue. If you want to have good connections with people, you have to know what you're connecting to them based on, you know, and shit like that. And then we were talking about the senses, as I said before, the more senses maybe you have, the better it is. I'm not sure about that, but I feel like maybe it is, because I gave some examples, and even me from hearing those examples, I would say, yeah, it kind of makes sense. But and that you have those senses, as you sense shit here, you have to also sense shit there, as I said, you know, like on your mental and emotional state. So it's like not only you sensing the words that the person say with via his action, understanding his space, but also the starting point, what the person like mentally decided to even say, to bring up such a topic, an emotional state, you know. If you'll peep that stuff too, maybe to some degree you'll be able to help a person from depression or something like that, you know. Because like it's not like, okay, he just said that words to flex or something, but you can get deeper into that, like why did he actually say that at this moment, at such a moment as this, you know. And then you'll be like, maybe this. Then you can talk to him a little bit, and then you connect to him a little bit. Then you're maybe in the same space, and you're taking him out from the space and shit like that, or you're taking him in another space and shit like that. You know, so that's basically it about spaces. In those spaces, you can create your own stars too, I guess, for you, just like, you know, to see the star and be like, oh yeah, this star directs me into that direction, you know. So if I'll follow this star, I'll get to that direction. And that's, we are talking on a metaphysical level right now. So you can create some image, some type of space that you always like to be, you know. But for you not to get there in a long way as you maybe usually get to, you know. So for example, you have to think about three different thingies for you to get to that space. Okay, transport there, teleport there. But you can actually create, like, let's say a symbol, aka a star, which will be on that space shining, so every time when you'll see that star, automatically you'll know where it leads to, you know. But it's already like on a metaphysical level and shit like that. But yeah, but for now I would say like have fun, continue living, as I always say, enjoying living, because no, due to the fact that you will just live, you will even learn something that I don't know, and you'll teach me that. Or, you know, teamwork makes the dream work, and not just going everywhere and just experiencing stuff and just learning from it. We can help each other. You don't even know how you can help a person. Like, even if you're meeting a person who's completely from a different field, and you never thought that even some little thing that happened with you in your childhood, or that you went through, and you thought that, okay, this is some bullshit that I don't even have to express, like I have to hide it within me so deep, because it's like, I think if I'll say it, everybody will look at me like I'm a strange or goofy or something, like, you know. You will never know, maybe this like little thing that you're running from or hiding and don't want to express, and when you will express it, it will help this person who is like a PhD or something in maths, you know. But you never thought that it's gonna help him. But it's like that, life happens in this way, you know. We attract each other, we attract something that we kind of need, and that we put the energy that we put out in the world, you know. So for example, when you're lacking some energy to some degree, you also put out that energy into the world, and you're attracting people like that in your life, you know. So it's like sometimes you learn, sometimes you always learn, Loki. You always learn, even if you attract people that you don't want to be close with. It's like one of the representations of your things that you also have within of you, and they were Loki expressed, you know. And it's like it's like a little star that puts you gives you like a pin, like, you know, pinpoints, like, okay bro, don't forget about this, you also have this within of you, you know. So if you don't fuck with junkies and you now attract junkies, that means like to some degree you also maybe a junkie or something is has some familiarities to that vibration itself, you know, that space, not the person but the space that the person is associated with and shit like that, you know. But you have to play with that too, because everything is a very magical world that we live in, you know. So you have to not only use like physical matter, as I said, push everything around. That comes next. That comes the last. First of all, everything is from within, without, you know. So first you're a magician, then you create magic, not other way around, where magic makes you a magician, type shit like that, you know. So have fun, guys. Much love.